So I gave my FE exam in last year in October, and for that I did use like a lot of your YouTube videos. But I would like to mention about the op-amp thing. The op-amp circuit is something which I did not understand at all. Like I hated those problems. But I came across like one of your videos on YouTube, and you said like just remember two things.
Knowing that you've passed the exam after you complete the exam, especially for PE power, it is not something that everybody experiences because it's a very difficult exam.
But it was not very fruitful because you cannot have the same flow when you come back from a long vacation, right? So then I went ahead and just booked the exam appointment for the August 12th date. And after that, my brain got active and I studied very seriously.
Even if you have a good control over your schedule or at least clarity and visibility, any type of break can really derail you. And that's why I tell the students that set yourself two goals. Primary goal of passing the exam in the first attempt, secondary goal of learning all the core power systems concepts, fundamental concepts along the way. Hi Tejas,
Hey, Wasim.
how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing very well. So, congratulations on passing your PE Power exam in the first attempt. And you have a very interesting story to tell. Lots and ups, up,
Absolutely.
lots of ups and downs in your preparation. I'll do a quick rehash and you can fill in the gaps. I remember receiving an email from you earlier in the year, right around New Year, and you told me that you had used some of the free content from my website, from YouTube channel. It helps you prepare for your exam, FE electrical I'm talking about, and you wanted for the B power exam to sort of have a more consolidated, structured approach, and you reached out to me. You signed up for the program in January. You participated in most of the live training sessions between January and March, but then you had to travel for personal or professional reasons, and your preparation sort of ended up hitting a little bit of a roadblock. And then you had to basically refocus, recollect your preparation where you left off, and then you started working towards the exam prep. And once you gained momentum, originally you had scheduled the exam for a later date, but then you started feeling ready and you pulled the exam date earlier, which does not always happen with the P power. I would say 9 out of 10 times I see students when they're feeling going through interrupted preparation, right? They end up scheduling the exam a little bit ahead and for right reasons. So it's a lot of ups and downs in your preparation, and I would like you to guide us through how you basically went about it, the resources you used, how you kept yourself accountable, what was your mindset, and the whole 9 yards.
So I gave my FE exam in last year in October, and for that I did use like a lot of your YouTube videos. I did not take a course, but I would like to mention about the op-amp thing. The op-amp circuit is something which I did not understand at all. Like I hated those problems. But I came across like one of your videos on YouTube, and you said like just remember two things about the op-amp. One is that the voltage at the positive is equal to the voltage at the negative, and the second was the current does not flow in the input. That was it. And then I could like solve each op-amp circuit logically, because before that I did not understand, so I could not use the logic behind it. So from that I got to know that okay, for P power I might need to use some kind of like a good resource, so that I don't burn out myself trying to do it on my own. And so then I reached out to you, and then I took your PE power course. And I also knew that I will be going outside in May, like out of the country to travel, and that would hamper my preparations for a one complete month. So I just emailed you, hey Vaseem, I will be losing one month of my preparation time, and your course is 6 months. So what to do? And you just said that that's not a problem. I will just extend it for a month when you come back. And I was like, oh, that was easy. So I just enrolled it into it, and then that was the time in January. this year, at the very first week when you started the live training program of the 12 week. So I enrolled into that. I started in January, then did all the live training for 12 weeks until the very end of March. And then I studied for one more month. I thought I will be okay in like appearing for the exam like in May, but then I was going out, so I did not want to like take a risk because it's a high stake exam, right? So I did all the preparation for the 4 months, and then I went overseas. During that time I did not see any lectures, but I made sure to you have a community, right, where you can just ask questions, and then there are two teaching assistants which basically just answer any question within 24 hours. So I always made sure to just follow them, because a lot of people ask questions in that community, and it will be easier for me to just go with the flow. So, and after that I came back in June. From June to July, I did start like slowly coming back to the course and reviewing every content. But it was not very fruitful because you cannot have the same flow when you come back from a long, long vacation, right? So then I went ahead and just booked the exam appointment for the August 12th date. And after that, my brain got active and I studied very seriously for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and I studied so hard that I thought I'm ready early. And then there were two practice exams during your course. One was on the easier side, and second one was the on the harder side. So I did good on the easier side. I scored about 90%, and on the harder test as well, I did about 88%. So I was like, I think I'm good enough and ready to take the exam. So I just went on the scheduling website for the Pearson, saw the dates, and I just got the date right after, like right the next day. So I rescheduled it, went with the exam, and then I felt really good after the exam. So I knew I was passing it.
That's a great feeling to have.
I also ended up early, like I had 1 hour of spare time.
That's great. And knowing that you've passed the exam after you complete the exam, especially for PE Power, it is not something that everybody experiences because it's a very difficult exam, kind of open-ended exam. You mentioned it's a high-stake exam. From the standpoint of the examiners, if you think about it, this is a final filter that they can apply before you are qualified to get the license. And the license comes with a lot of respect, responsibilities, and privileges. So, and they do a really good job at applying a really, really strong filter. So, your preparation, Tejas, is I would like to call as more realistic, right? Because that's what life can do, right? In your case, it was not an unplanned vacation or a break. You had your reasons, and I do remember now that you mentioned, right, that you had asked me and pointed out that Wasim, I'm going to be away for a month, right? So would that be a problem? So now I remember that conversation. So you already knew that that was coming. You were preparing according to it, but then I would like to sort of hammer that point that even if you have a good control over your schedule or at least clarity and visibility, any type of break can really derail you. And you did point out that it was so difficult to sort of bring yourself together. And the other thing that stood out that you mentioned, which a lot of other candidates have also mentioned on these interviews, is that there is something magical that happens when you actually book a date, right? So when you were able to get that date, and you're like, okay, this is going to happen now in August, then you said you studied extremely hard, right? Because now you have clear focus and there's also light at the end of the tunnel. You know that it's one and done, and that's what you mentioned in the community as well. Yeah, it's one and done, and now you can move on with the with your life. So I think although those minor things seem like gimmicks, to an extent, psychological hacks, right? Putting something on the calendar and then working towards it, you internalize that, okay, this is real, this is happening, and just telling yourself this is, one and done. And it's a difficult exam, so you can potentially fall short, right? But then the point is that the rewards are so great and long term that if your goal is to actually become a P license holder and leave no stone unturned, then that also fires up a lot of motivation, right? And then you're like, okay, I will move ahead like a bullet train and make this happen. So there is a lot of mind game that essentially goes into it. And the closest example I can give to somebody who is planning on Let's say even if you're starting from FE electrical, a lot of people say it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's true. But using that example, anybody who does medium to short distance running, right? If you even doing 5K, which is not really that big of a run, but still, even if you're doing a 5K run, literally at the last third or last half, sometimes or last quarter of that run, your mind starts telling you that this is enough. Just get off the treadmill or get off the concrete or get off the track or wherever you are running. That you're done. You're gonna fall. The heart is gonna burst and the muscles are gonna give in and this and that. But you recognize that you've been there before. You've done this several times. This is just internal talk, right? And you have to sort of push through that pain barrier, if I can
The
call it,
last stretch.
the last stretch. And the last stretch, can you tell us a little bit about the last stretch? They just like the last week or last two
Yeah,
weeks.
so I will tell you what happened after I booked the exam date. So if I tell you my like just one day, if I explain that for those 3 4 weeks, which I like repeatedly did, was I started my office at 7 a.m. Like I woke up at 6 a.m. I started my office at 7 a.m. Worked until 11:30. I took a break, did lunch. Then from 12 p.m. I again 12 or 12:30. I work until 5 p.m. I end my office. Then I do my dinner there. I stay at the office from 5:30 around like 6 p.m. until 9:30 p.m. Then I came back home around 10:30 p.m. And that was my day each day every week for 3 4 weeks just before the exam. So the last stretch was, I mean, tough, but I would say it was worth it. The amount of, I mean, how the way I studied in the office was very efficient, and then I prepared like early. So the last stretch is it's hard.
Yeah, it burns. I mean, it results in a burnout. I mean, it is
Yes,
very easy to
yes.
get burned out.
Every day you will feel that burnout.
Yeah. And the other thing that you sort of hinted at is continuation of that mindset of working, right? So again, using a workout example, there are some people smaller school of thought in terms of workout. Very rare though, but the idea does exist out there that you should break your workout sessions into two halves in a day, right? So do half of the workout, let's say in the morning, and then do half of the remaining workout in the evening or late afternoon. Not a lot of people prescribe to this idea, and the reason that a lot of people don't like this idea, and I'm sure that there would be some research papers comparing this or that, is that once you're in a flow, right? Once your body is warmed up and you're doing the exercises, you're basically have done the stretches and everything, right? Sustaining that heart rate in the continuity in a workout mode is more efficient and effective, right? Then sort of having that warm up done again and a cool down, doing that cool down again. So what you are doing, if we sort of create that analogy between the two, is that once you are switched on at 7 a.m., you're working, right? You're taking a little bit of breaks, eating, right? And sometimes meetings, and even if your workday is light, that itself is a kind of a break, right? Chit chatting, and then your mind is sort of, but you're still in a very productive environment, right? Where you are supposed to create an output and deliver and so on. And you just continued that, right? Without interruption. Okay. The same example of the workout, because you have that flow state going essentially. And again, everybody has their own style of learning. I have lately noticed a lot of students mention that, candidates mention that they sometimes stay late at office and whatnot. Some of the students even actually over the weekends they would talk to the managers and supervisors. They'd be like, you know what, I want to show up to the actual office over the weekend at my work desk. It's optimized. I have multiple screens, I have printer access, this and that. But on a three supervisor, there could be security reasons that they may not allow, and you to just randomly show up, type of thing. But it's a very productive and very optimized space, and also psychologically, because you're just continuing in a certain train of thought, it does make it easier. And then when you come back to home, right, you can just relax and you can sleep and optimize your sleep portion. So that's a very good tip. Now, in terms of the number of hours you mentioned in the community post, you ended up putting about 400 hours roughly, give or take, right? Now, in the hindsight, though, having gone through the program in depth, the masterclass, the on demand, the quizzes, the mini exams, homework assignments, the live training sessions, the practice exams, the study guide, do you think that the exam over prepared you, just prepared you, or you would have done anything different?
For that, I will say I was over prepared. But regarding your coursework, so in every section of the on-demand course, there's like a little bit of supplementary section, right? Which you upload. You always say it's deeper than it has deeper knowledge than what you need for the exam, right? But I made sure to go through each video and complete your course to 100%. What that did was it helped me over prepare. Even during the exam, I could feel that, okay, I know that this theory in very deep. I went through that. Like I could like literally relate to every those supplemental lectures that it's very it's I'm doing like the same thing again in the exam. And whatever they ask, I know, okay, Wasim told, yeah, here you can have a pitfall. Here are some students who like get confused, and I was like, okay, I know this already. So going through that supplemental lecture, it over prepared me. So it depends on person, but if they go like completely with your course, then for sure they will get over prepared. But if they don't complete it to 100%, then they might be just prepared but not under prepared for sure.
And the thing about going deeper in concepts, especially for an exam that is so open-ended compared to even FE versus PE, you were able to pass this exam by putting a lot of your effort, of course, and just using the YouTube videos and whatnot, right? When it comes to the PE power exam, either if you're starting out with a very good technical foundation, or you have been in academia, or you actively apply a lot of design principles, right? Chances are that the nuances, those tangential, irritating, subtle concepts, until unless you face up to them during your preparation, I call it level 3 understanding. That's the term I use for I feel electrical as well. It's difficult to figure those out during the exam, right? So, and whenever you are taking the first principle approach of learning, in the sense that you are not relying on a scaffolding of understanding with equations and terminology and just some bare bones definitions, but you're actually creating a Lego set with every single block and laying it with your understanding, then essentially you create a very very strong base. Despite that, if something from the left field comes up, a curveball gets thrown at you, you can always take a few steps back and be like, okay, so let me just go back to the basics and let's just start creating that skyscraper. They're asking a question that is at at the elevation of floor number 44, correct? So I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to go sideways and address this. Make sense? And even if something comes up from 22, something comes up for 120th floor, because you have that foundation, you can actually reverse engineer and you can sort of make your way through it. It is easier said than done.
Yeah.
Right? It is very painful exercise if you haven't actually already gone through a first principle approach of learning and haven't gone through the derivations yourself. But in my opinion, there is no better time to brush up the fundamentals, especially when you're about to get licensed, than this P power exam preparation. And that's why I tell the students that set yourself two goals: primary goal of passing the exam in the first attempt, secondary goal of learning all the core power systems concepts, fundamental concepts along the way.
Yeah, and even during the exam, when you solve the question, you actually have that time to, like kind of go from the basics and build to the like the whatever level the question is asking about. So you have that time. It's just that if you do the heavy lifting during your preparation time, then it's easier to build that foundation again during the exam.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thanks a lot for your time, Tejas. And you left no stone unturned. Well deserved success. Tons and tons of hard work. Over 400 hours, you mentioned, of effort over 7 months, right? Give or take. It took the better part of the year for you. It had been on your mind since the start of the year. And now in Q3, you're able to pull it off in the first attempt and carry this approach of attention to detail, hard work, learning mindset forward in the rest of your career. And I'm sure that is going to result in even better accomplishments down the road.
For sure. I still have all your notes, and I'm gonna carry that till I die.
Do you have it on your desk right now? That
Oh,
the
yeah, I have a lot. So this is my homework assignments, if you see,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
How many
this is
pages are roughly in
another,
those?
this is another. It's over like I would say easily like 700, 800 pages. A
Wow.
lot.
And these are all handwritten notes.
It's like this much. Yeah,
This is
yeah, I
all
did
handwritten
create
notes,
it.
right?
Yeah, yeah, more 50% is handwritten, and then the others were like you had the reference PDFs on your on demand, right?
Yeah.
So I printed those as well. So just I like clipped it with my handwritten notes so that I could just if I missed anything.
Awesome. Again, yeah, that helps. This is the visual is very effective at sort of putting the effort into that real sense of how much of sweat basically went into this process, right? So that's amazing.
This is what helped me do the preparation early. When I started again, this is what I could relate with, and I was like, okay, I have done this before, so it was very easy to do it again.
Awesome. Amazing. Thanks all for your time, Tejas, again, and wishing you best of luck for the future career endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE Electrical and P Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.